What's going on, New York Giant fans? Welcome back to another Roster Bubble Series video. Hope you guys are doing well. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or a video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Share this out. Do all the good stuff. Again, thank you guys for tuning into the content. Hope you guys have been enjoying all the training camp coverage that we've been doing. So, another Roster Bubble Series video for you guys today, and we're going to talk about Dennis Houston, wide receiver. But if you haven't been to these videos already, we take a player that's on the cusp of being cut. We talk about their background, their competition, ways they could win a spot on the roster, ways they could lose a spot on the roster, and at the end, a prediction. So Dennis Houston is 25 years old, 6'1", 198 pounds, went to 3 different colleges and was an undrafted free agent with the Cowboys in 22. He went to Houston Baptist, then went to Fullerton College, and then finished up his career at Western Illinois. So he was signed as an undrafted free agent with the Cowboys. And they actually gave him a little bit of a chance in the 2022 season. He had 2 receptions for 16 yards against Tampa Bay, a game which they lost, and then a couple of different snaps against the Cincinnati Bengals, a game which they won. Minimal special team snaps, but some offensive snaps due to the injuries to the wide receiver core. And then he did not play the rest of the games, and of course the Giants signed him after the Dallas Cowboys decided to cut him. So here are some stuff from his college days. Through his 5 years in college, 1 redshirt year, Houston put up a total of 2,112 yards and 11 rushing touchdowns on 176 catches, with another 151 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns on 20 carries. Houston did most of his damage lining up on the outside and was capable of winning on all 3 levels as a receiver while being sporadically used as a jet sweep man, whether he was handed the ball or passed the ball on pop passes. So it seems like he's a very versatile piece. I would have never imagined it because the Giants have been mostly lining him up in the slot. Not the slot, the outside. They haven't really lined him up in the slot. They have not lined him up in the backfield either. Which again, they've been doing that with McKenzie. They've been doing that with a couple other different guys. But again, based on just a little bit of prior knowledge and conclusions, I never thought Dennis Houston could be used like that. But in camp so far, as I said, he's only been a outside wideout. He's won some reps in the 1v1s, and he's had some catches, but nothing really spectacular. So as far as his competition goes, Gunnar Olszewski, Isaiah McKenzie, Miles Boykin, Ayir Asante, John Giles, Allen Robinson, and Bryce Ford Wheaton. A couple of those guys are in the slot. A couple of those guys are on the outside. So how can he win? Number 1 is health. Number 2, I think he's got to be one of those players that goes off in the preseason. Somehow, some way, he made the Dallas Cowboys roster. I would like to think he made the Dallas Cowboys roster because he was a quality receiver. He did his thing in the preseason games. And I think he's going to need to do the same thing to try to end up on the Giants' back end of the roster because he didn't play much special teams with the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, he had, 9 snaps on specials in week 1. I mean, I don't know how many snaps there were actually legitimately on specials, but it said it was 38% of that game, and then 15% on specials in that Cincinnati game. So it overall was not a lot. So that could be very tricky for him to make the roster through because normally a guy like Dennis Houston, those low-end wide receivers, in the foundation of how they make the roster is special teams. But he's not too much of a special teamer, which is surprising considering that he can be versatile within the offense, taking jet sweeps, being in the backfield, and being in the slot as well. But special teams usage, I think maybe he should try out at returner, but the Giants already have 5 guys there: Wandale, Slayton, Asante, Olszewski, and McKenzie. So I don't think they're going to fit Dennis Houston in there. Versatility within the offense, I think that's going to be a big one. Lining up in different areas. Hopefully they get more creative with him because that's a way that Dennis Houston could put his talent on the field, exhibit his talent, and ascending up the depth chart. There are ways that he get to the second team. I think the first team is pretty much locked with the receivers, but Olszewski, McKenzie, Bryce Ford Wheaton, those guys have been playing with the 2s, but they could still mix it around. And again, making plays in the preseason games against the Jets, the Texans, and the Lions, through that, I think he can make the roster on the back end. How can he lose? Health, that's one thing. Not ascending in the depth chart, which means not really making plays in the preseason, not making plays in training camp. I think he needs a few touchdowns or big plays under his belt in training camp. And I know, obviously, you're not going to get a lot of those because there's different drills and they acclimate it to different times, whatever. But I think he does need some big plays because most of the plays he's got is short passes. And it's not, you find Dennis Houston in the end zone for a touchdown. It's just been short over the middle plays, which again is a little surprising considering what I read on the scouting report. But drops, that could be an issue in terms of how he may not make the roster. Fumbles, that could be an issue. Poor special teams play, him not being good as a blocker or a gunner or a penetrator or a personal protector. Those are ways he may not make the roster. He's got to carve away on special teams. He's got to find a way to be a special teamer somehow. It's kind of like Isaiah Hodgins. Hodgins is not a special teamer. He hasn't been for the last few years. And he might need to carve away because his roster spot is not secure. So that's how he could win. That's how he could lose a spot. I think Dennis Houston's going to get cut. I think if he makes some plays during the preseason, I might change my mind. But as far as right now goes, I'm going to say that Dennis Houston gets cut because I feel like there's better wide receivers in the room. There's more experienced wide receivers in the room, so on and so forth. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or a video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.